Stop it.
I just think that I'm gonna have the mic in my hand so I could be like, hey friends over here, hey friends on the sidewalk, thank you so much for being out there. So I did two things to prepare for the honor of being your feature this evening. One is I wore booty shorts. So I posted on Facebook that I was going to wear booty shorts if I was to feature at Van Slam. And it's just a little cooler out. Like I was hoping to get something more tight with maybe some camel toe. But honestly, my wife's here and she will vouch. One of the reasons she fell in love with me is my camel toe in most things that I wear. So I don't have the camel toe, but like it still works. What I'm gonna say is when you hit your 40s, you are no longer encouraged to wear booty shorts. So I'm just doing my bit, to smash the patriarchy. So you're welcome. And the other thing that I did to prepare for the honor was I put in a call to Jillian Christmas. And let's be honest, Jillian Christmas is the reason why I'm here. I love her so. And I said, Jillian Christmas, do I have to read poems at Poetry Slam? And she said, you can do whatever you want with 25 minutes. So no poetry. I know! How can that be? I'm going to take you way back. I'm going to read from my memoir called How Poetry Saved My Life, a Hustler's Memoir. And it does a lot of things, but one of the things that I really wanted to tackle in the memoir was an account of my life as an experiential sex worker here in Vancouver for about a 15-year span. So when you write your memoirs, and many of you know because you're writing personal work, there's not just accounting for what has happened to us. There's also like what do we want to share with others? What do we want perhaps others to learn or to think about? Where do we want to pull in allies? Where do we want to incite anger? Where do we want to make people laugh? Where do we want to make people think? So I had a lot of credos. I had a lot of missions with this book, with the biggest mission being just to humanize sex workers, because that just isn't available to us on a day-to-day basis. But I had another mission, and the other mission was, can I have some moments of humor in this book? Sex work and humor, they don't really seem like they go together. For those of you that maybe have read academically about sex workers, are involved in decriminalization movements, maybe gone to some rallies, some forums, you're not really like yucking it up, Like maybe that's not what's happening when we talk about sex work justice. So I'm gonna invite you to laugh. I'm gonna try to make you laugh, don't force it, like be you. But if you feel like laughing, that's great. I really invite that. Y'all ready? Yeah. It happened suddenly. It happened without warning. One day, I woke up and I was an old hoe. For the purposes of this story, let's just say that there are two kinds of hoes. Turnouts, girls in their early 20s or younger. They pull into the massage parlor parking lot late for their shift. Sure, I read about sex work and I hear sirens. It's just, come on. They pull into the massage parlor parking lot late for their shift in their dented sports coupes with a non-fat triple caramel macchiato in one hand while they text message their clueless boyfriends with the other hand. Then there are old hoes like me, pushing 30. Old hoes knit blankets for their next baby, read distance education textbooks, and braid one another's hair weaves in between clients. The turnouts sleep off their martini and ecstasy hangovers in the staff room. The only thing that wakes them up is the sound of a client ringing the doorbell. It is the duty of an old hoe to keep the turnouts in line. I know I was passing my prime when I caught myself saying things like, Coco, you know you can't wear a tracksuit to work. I don't care if it's a baby fat tracksuit. This here is a business. You go put a dress on, girl. But perhaps the greatest sign of aging is when an old hoe begins to quietly reflect upon her vocation, the high times, the hard times. But most of all, what did I do with all of that money? This happened to me in 2004, and I'm pretty sure it was 2004 because the Ricky Lake Show had started to go into rerun. Daytime television, now this is a quintessential component of massage hoe lifestyle. Entranced by these shows, we were perpetually ridiculing and very closely relating to the cross-dressers and teen mothers and so-called misfits they feature. I became fully aware of my old hoe status while watching an episode called You Dissed Me, But Look at Me Now. Today's guests are former geeks who have become chic. Have any of you seen a show like this on daytime television? Okay, so it's kind of a makeover show. Just stay with me. I'll break it down for you. So, before bringing out her guests, Ricky Lake mocked oversized before photos of the unfortunate-looking youngsters her guests were before becoming chic. Now, according to the Ricky Lake Show, chic is synonymous with slutty. Braces were replaced by boob jobs, Coke bottle glasses turned in for manes of bleach blonde hair. Guests flapped around the studio set in outfits skimpier than my work lingerie, hell-bent on proving they were no longer losers. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. My own grade school photos, equally awkward to those on the Ricky Lake Show. Ill-fitting corduroy hand-me-downs and home job bowl cut hair. This is fine when you're 9, but by junior high, my donation box finds loudly clashed with the masses of polo shirts and penny loafers. In 7th grade, my classmates scratched the words pervert and loser on my locker regularly. In 8th grade, bubblegum was stuck over my face in the class photo that hung in the assembly room, and the truth is, I had stuck it there.
Oh my God.
It was simply easier being a wad of pink sticky gum than my awkward teenage self. I imagine morphing beneath that bubble gum, like a butterfly in a cocoon. One day I'd peel it off, and underneath, I would have the same spiral perm hair and diamond earrings as the popular girls. You see, I grew up in the age of the makeover movie. The meek shall inherit the prom movie, and watching these movies taught me that if I just hung in there long enough, eventually a cheerleader would take pity on me and teach me how to do my makeup. Or a rich prep would lose a bet and have to take me to the spring dance. Or best yet, I would discover that I was a teenage werewolf. And even at 5 feet 2 inches tall, I would be a basketball star, and all the girls would throw themselves at me. I clung to the makeover dream for years. It shifted from high school sweetheart to winning big at the hoe game. Maybe some dumb regular would rent me a condo, or I'd land that mad money stint in Las Vegas. My real life certainly didn't hold any makeover potential. I'm a poet. I'm a homo with a weakness for broke-ass butches. I dance burlesque, and pretty badly. I mean, I ought to tattoo the word penniless on my titties if I was ever gonna go from geek to chic, from trash to cash. I figured hoeing was the only way. But even near the final days of my sex work, I still hadn't found the place where the money was greener. Get out of that damn rub and tug, my friend Simone told me. She was the one working girl I knew who was older than me, and she was a high-priced call girl. A grand a night was her norm. Simone, well, she also had a much higher work ethic than me. Her clients were B-list actors who wanted to drum her face with their Viagra erections while she recited the lyrics to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. No shit. Whenever her clients wanted 2 girls, I would accompany Simone on these calls, and each time I fled back to the massage parlor with a newfound appreciation to the quiet men that were flopped on top of the massage table. Just this one time, Simone would start whining before I had the chance to refuse. Please. She did have a very pretty please. By all accounts, a duo date with Simone should have been one of those rare times where I was actually turned on at work. Simone is so tiny, she made me feel like a daddy when I'd sit her on my lap. A wry smoker's laugh frequents her pouty lips, and she fucks women. But oh no, why be attracted to a cute bisexual when I could crush out on the worst homophobes in the massage parlor? The hoes that made me hot wore fistfuls of gold rings and had names like Champagne and Brooklyn. Girls that will knock you flat for no good reason. I've gotten caught ogling these girls out of the corner of my eye. They were never flattered. When Simone was naked, everything became blurry, like a soft watercolor sunset backdrop at a cheap portrait studio. I just posed and pretended to be in Hawaii. That about sums up sex with Simone. So when she asked me to see a woman client with her, I asked myself, just how much faking it am I really capable of? This is a once in a motherfucking lifetime date, snapped Simone. Her voice was loud, delirious. The client is Fame-O-Us. What Hollywood North Star sightings had I recently read about in the newspaper? Maybe the X-Men sequel was still being shot. Is it Halle Berry, I guessed? No, said Simone. Oh, Pamela Anderson is visiting her hometown again. Not even close. That's another story, by the way. Oh, I know. One of the L Word cast wants to find out what lesbian sex is really like. Simone clicked her tongue to notify me that she was done with my futile guesses. Even after we arrived at the downtown Sheraton, after we slipped past the chintz furnace lobby and followed a bellhop up the security-locked elevator, even after we knocked on room 1608, I had no idea. Then she opened the door. She opened the door and suddenly a soundtrack was playing. The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, The Proclaimers' 500 Miles, Psychedelic Furs, Simple Minds, Echo and the Bunnymen, Jesus and the Mary Chain, old sitcom theme songs, high school dance songs, slumber party songs, all mashed up into one deafening noise. My entire pubescent life passed before my eyes. Where had this late 80s, early 90s actress been for the last decade? Cameoing in box office flops I had never seen, tucked away in rehab. Her once new wave hair had grown and hung resignedly around her shoulders. No tiara or leg warmers adorned her body. She wore a white robe. Though not the hotel robe, mind you, this was silk and clung to the rounded hips I didn't remember her having in the movies. I decided then and there that she had come out of hiding for me. She was a good omen, a gold mine, a sip from the fountain of youth. Had my makeover moment finally arrived? Sadly, my greeting came out sounding a lot like a cat being stepped on. The actress handed me our pay in an unsealed envelope, which is a classy move until I held it upside down so that the entire stack of $100 bills slipped out and scattered across the carpet. I then hit my head on the cherrywood vanity as I knelt to pick up the money. It was up to Simone to infuse any sex appeal into the situation. She miraculously produced a tangerine vanilla scented candle and a bottle of Merlot from her purse. Simone made me proud to be an old hoe. I remained kind of jaw-dropped and useless until a certain silk robe was tossed over the upholstered headboard and the actress lay naked on the bed. I held my breath as I crawled beside this celluloid queen. I have never seen nipples so pink. They were like the "you are here" dot on a map. When I touched her, she sighed the kind of sigh that only someone who's had vocal coaching could make, like a tuning fork lived in her throat. Her thighs twitched as I arrived at her clit. I wanted to admire her for a while, but Simone had my hand bagged and lubed faster than I can say finger bang. We were hoes on a clock. Simone was wide-eyed and grave, as if urging me to go bravely forward. So I did. As I toyed with the actress's clit, I saw that hardened wad of bubblegum stuck to my 8th grade class photo finally coming loose. Sliding inside her was like sliding into my past. Not my awkward loser past, but the past I had always dreamed of. I was fucking the prom queen, the rebel girl, and the cheerleader all at the same time. I made her wriggle and kick. Her head lurched atop the pillow. I wondered if she would squirt or ooze when she came. Would she scream or would she swear? Would a parade of 1987 Ford Thunderbirds race down the street below? Would all the mirrored disco balls in the city suddenly start spinning? Somewhere, surely, a cheerleader would raise her pom-poms high. Give me a C.
C.
Give me a U.
U.
Give me an M. I mused over this pending orgasm for quite a while before I noticed the actress wasn't having one. My arm was growing tired. I looked over at Simone as she thrummed the client's nipples in a drum roll of anticipation. "Oh yeah, that's right," she said. But her tone was the same as she took with all the men, a put on sultry, one that thinly disguised her impatience. The actress's A-note eyes turned to dog-like whimpers. Her brow furrowed. I suspected that if she was going to get off, the moment had already passed, but I kept fucking her. I saw Simone eye the time on her cell phone. I kept fucking. I heard the tiny bones in my wrist start creaking. I kept fucking. A turnout would have handed the client a vibrator and watched her finish herself. I kept fucking. The white robe trembled on the clacking headboard like an old ghost, still haunting me. I understood very clearly then that there would be no cumload of cash or fame, no Ricky Lake show, no free condos, no Viva Las Vegas. I could fuck, and I would still never satisfy this makeover dream. The bubblegum had already been removed. And this is what I am. A queer femme who sometimes has misguided crushes, who dance low-rent burlesque in sticky-floored dyke bars, and writes goddamn poetry. And what, I asked myself as I pulled out of the famous actress's pussy, is so wrong with that?
Yeah.